Hey, welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today we're going to be installing a wideband / boost gauge from AEM. So let's dive in. Okay, so we are going to be installing one of these items because it's going to be pretty lengthy, but we have a fuel pump and AEM wideband and boost, true boost, built into one. So let's take a look at this one first. Instruction manual, of course. Wideband sensor, vacuum line, everything for that. And this is the unit. We have wideband on the outside, and then we have boost in the middle. And of course, you can reprogram that so it's the opposite. Boost on the outside and air fuel in the middle. So you have options, a couple of options. But, so we're gonna keep it like this. I need to know my air fuel ratio on the outside, boost in the middle, and that'll be good to go. Also, you can set warnings and fail safe and everything like that. But we're going to be installing this guy. So after that, we have the fuel pump. Now, 255 wasn't quite doing it in general, not for my silver car. So for the owner of this yellow one, I encourage him to get this one. And I haven't even got this for myself yet, but I have to say that this is some true high quality, high grade material here. This doesn't look cheap at all. Everything is billet case and the proper terminals, 8 AN feed and return, and it shows you which way it flows. Don't kill me on the pronunciation of this, but it's Deutsch Works 350 IL. I highly recommend. And of course, there's flow sheet, give you an idea how she runs her numbers, at what voltage, so on and so forth. If I can get this paper open. There we go. So all of the flow characteristics, fittings, and all of the info is right here. So we will be installing this one a little bit later. We're going to drop the tank and all of that goodness for this one, but we're not going to do it just yet because we're still waiting for the feed and the return line fittings. So once that comes in, we'll pop the episode for that. Okay, so first things first, we are going to tilt the steering down. Gives us the maximum amount of room. Then after that, we're going to start taking the dash apart. So we have Phillips under here and here, under here and over here. Then that'll get the top part loose. Then we'll take and unplug this one and this one and remove this completely. So I'm gonna get that done and we're gonna see what we got under this. Okay, so we've gotten to this point. These are the two that you disconnect to take the top hat off. Next, we are going to take this screw out, this screw out, which are both Phillips, and then it's like a, I want to say 7 or 8 millimeter for here and over here. and that'll allow you to remove the gauges. But when you remove the gauges, you want to bring it forward slowly because the speedometer cable is over here, and that needs to be disconnected carefully because it could pop. So I'm gonna do that and I will be right back. Okay, so we've gone to the next step. So with the gauge tilted forward, you're going to look through the outside of the glass, and you're gonna reach behind and push the button, which is located on the bottom, and it'll pop right out. Then after that, you have these two connectors to disconnect, and then your gauges are out. Okay, now, so we're gonna remove all of the Phillips screws all the way across, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. And then we're going to move to the back, take loose these 2 screws here, and we're going to remove the factory boost gauge. So let me get this open and I'll show you what more to do. Okay, so the cover is off and seems to be a lot of juice in this gauge set. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna take out some screws on the rear here. So we're gonna take out these 2 and these 2, and the gauge should pretty much fall out. So I'm gonna do that, see what we got. Okay, and just like that, it falls right out. So, interesting. But anyway, so now this is our space to mount our aftermarket gauge. So you can cut as much of this as you want, as long as you don't interrupt these lines here. Some of them are blank and don't do anything, but you don't want to interrupt those. So if we have to port to get these holes to the proper size to fit properly, then we could do that. But remember, don't interrupt these lines. They all go somewhere and do something. All right, so I'm gonna test fit the gauge and see what it looks like and take it from there. So in this case, we need these holes to be a little bit wider. So we have to see what line does what. So we have a wire here, and it goes to 1, 2, 3, goes to this one, that goes to so we don't want to interrupt that. This area is a free-for-all. You can cut holes as big as you want right in here. Right here where the 3 is, you can punch a nice fat hole through there. And that's only if you need to. I need to because I have a vacuum port and plugs to plug in. So I have to make sure there's enough room for all of those accessories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to port these holes out, drill this whole area out and that area, so I'll be able to plug all of the plugs, including the vacuum. So let me get started with that and pretty much take it from there. Okay, and it is in there. All right, let me show you the back. All of the holes drilled. Now, technically, this would be it if you were only doing a regular boost gauge, but I have to make room for so many other items, plugs and whatnot, so it's going to be a slight bit different. So, you know, you could have left just a singular hole just for vacuum, but I have this additional hole to fit these plugs for other additional information. So we have a little bit of damage here, which is fine. This is a ground, so I'll be able to connect this back, and yep, be able to tighten this down and be good to go. But that looks excellent, minus the juice. But yeah, no, that's perfect. And yep, I think we're gonna try fitting on the covers and see what everything looks like closed. Okay, everything looks 100, but of course it's not going to fit on this area 100% because it has a factory cover on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew the cover and see if it fits better and kind of take it from there. There we go. That looks fantastic. And the clear piece doesn't fit, so we're kind of gonna go without it, which gives it a much cleaner look anyway. So yeah, so now that that's in, we'll be able to slide in all of the accessories from the rear. So now I'm going to place all of the bolts all the way around to hold this plastic piece in, and we will be good to go. Okay. And now we pull the first wire through, which is for the wideband, and we are using the same port as every other wire. So that's the first one. Next we got to do the wiring for everything else. So let me slide that through. Let me show you what it looks like from the inside. Alright, so there's plenty of wire. And I'm going to straighten that up once I get the other wiring harness through and take it from there. The last part of the harness right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this harness out towards the engine bay a little bit more, wrap these wires up so they're not sprawled around like these, and I'm gonna tuck these away so you can't see them. Okay, and it is done. You can't even tell where it is amongst all of the other wires, but let me show you exactly where it's at. This wire right here, right there, and then it goes all the way through here and into the hole, and you can see it here wrapped up pretty good. These are going to be permanent where they are, so there shouldn't be any removing of this, but these wires again are going to be rerouted by the customer because he wants to put it under, and these hands are too big to fit up under any of that. So he said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. So after that, I told him to make sure if there are not any more accessories you want to use, to wrap these up along with everything else so it looks nice and neat. So anyway, that's done. So now we're going to go to the inside. We're going to put the inside together. Then we're going to rip out the O2, the original one, I should say, O2 sensor, and we're going to put in the wideband and start wiring everything up last. Okay, so these wires are plenty long, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the air-fuel ratio gauge, plug all of the factory components in, and start putting it back together. So let me show you pretty much how that's going to go. All right, so we got the gauges there. Plugging that stuff in first, everything else like normal. And again, be careful of your speedometer cable. These things are actually pretty fragile. So, yep. So I'm gonna button it up and I'll be right back. And there you have it. The gauge is installed. I haven't powered it up or anything yet, but we are done on this side. I even ran the vacuum line for boost reference on the gauge. And yes, so that's there. And now we're going to go to the engine compartment and we're going to tighten everything else up and we'll be good to go. I'll pop it on the on position and make sure everything is right and take it from there. Okay, we're going to start here. We're going to remove the O2 sensor and install the new one. All right, so because this one was recently installed, I'm just going to use one of these, pop it loose, and when we install the new one, we're going to use some anti-seize just to make sure it doesn't get stuck in there, and it could be removed for service or anything like that, resetting or what have you, and take it from there. And just like that, you pop a little bit of anti-seize just on the threads, not the sensor. And we're gonna twist this one in and plug it into the plug right there. And actually, we're gonna hang the plug up top there to keep it away from the heat. But yeah, so once that's done, that side is done, we're gonna start some wiring after that. And just like that, it is in and plugged in over there. So that's all done. Now let's move to this area where we have our wires dangling. All right, so we're gonna do ignition switch, ground. We're not gonna do the dimming or anything like that. So let me show you guys exactly one more time what we're plugging up. Open up this book. Okay, so we got ground. We're doing the white wire for bugs all over the place. White wire for air fuel ratio to the Microtech, and tech output will be the black wire. Where did it go? This guy here. And what else we got? So the green is the tech output. I wonder where all of these gnats are coming from. 12-volt switch, which is the black and white wire right here. Kind of got it memorized. So yep, we're gonna hook up everything as shown in this and be back. Okay, so it is all wired in. Let's take a peek to see if she's working as far as the basics and take it from there. Okay, so let's see what she looks like. Excellent, she's definitely working. All right, so that's a success. Not bad. Looks pretty interesting. And I got the USB cable obtainable for any additional programming for it. So that's a wrap. That looks excellent. Hey, I hope you guys found this helpful in any way, shape, or form. Also, I want to thank all of you guys for subscribing. I will see you guys next episode. Don't forget to hit the bell icon and like and subscribe, of course. And I'll see you next time.